And today we wanted to focus on the eclipse, a little bit about Mercury retrograde coming up here, and just kind of tune in after the past 48 hours because there has been a shift. And I'm hoping that a lot of you or some of you have felt that shift. Um, Whitney's voice went yesterday, and then both of us today are very congested, and we've got some throat chakra stuff going on. So we're going to go here as long as we can, and then we will, sign off to rest the throat. But I do feel like with all of this energy in Aries, and so we're coming upon the second new moon in Aries that's happening on the 19th or 20th, depending on where you are in the world. And it's also a hybrid solar eclipse. So it's a mix of an annual, let me get that right. Hold on. I had it and then I lost it. It's a hybrid. It's a mix of an annual and I'll get it. I had it and it just completely slipped out of my mind. Anyway, it's a very rare eclipse that only occurs 7 times in the 21st century. So it's a quick eclipse. It goes total. It's a combination of an annular and total eclipse. So it'll start off as an annular or a partial, then it goes total in the middle, then it goes back to a partial. It's very rare. And coupled with the fact that this is a new moon in Aries, the second new moon, the first one we had at 0 degrees Aries back on March 21st, tells us we've been primed for new beginnings, guys. We've been pushed out of our comfort zones. We've been pushed into the dark night of the soul, some of us like myself. You've been pushed to really confront your demons, confront your vices, confront your addictions, confront your past, confront your relationships, all your patterns and all of these things, really learning to negate the negative thoughts, or rather welcome them and allow them to be a part of your experience without needing to push them away, but just letting them be there and not judging them. It's been a really, really active new year here. We're calling the astrological new year when Aries season started, which was almost a month ago on the 21st of March, when we moved from the sun in Pisces to the sun in Aries. And the reason we're coming on today is to really talk about these energies, because if you didn't get the opportunity, or you feel like you didn't get the chance for whatever reason, there were obstacles in your way with that first new moon in Aries in March, you're getting a second opportunity here with this new moon. So it's an opportunity of a lifetime, guys. We just had the luckiest day of the year 2 days ago. We did a live on that day on Monday, or Tuesday, excuse me. And that's the luckiest day where Jupiter Kazemi the sun. So Jupiter came really, really close to the sun, and Jupiter is the planet of luck and abundance and expansion. So we're in the land of opportunity. We're in the land of advancement. And yet this is being coupled with all of these external energies that are still very chaotic, very changing, uncertainty, a lot of fear, and just a lot of highs and lows emotionally. I do think we're going to welcome in Taurus season. Whitney's a sun in Taurus. She's a Taurus baby, so I know she's excited. But I'm equally excited, and I'm a water sign, and I can't wait to feel more stabilization after this really, really passionate, almost like furious Aries energies that threw us into new beginnings it was basically sink or swim. It's like, here you go, plunge. Like a Navy SEAL, like you either do it or you don't. You either survive or you die. And that's what Aries season has felt like this year. It's really, really marked a start. It's like there's what do they call it? Like a fork, not a fork in the road, but something in the sand, like I can't think of we're in the shadow of Mercury retrograde, so neither one of us can find our words, but there's a saying, and it's basically like a circle in the sand or something. And it's basically like, this is the point of no return. We cannot go back anymore to who we were, what we were doing, when we were doing it, how we were doing it. And so this means that there's only forward movement. And that is scary as fuck to the ego, because the ego is like, wait, here's my comfort zone back here, and you want me to go here. This is the unknown. This is plunging into new territory. I don't know what to do here. I don't know how to do what I do here. And so many of you, your identity has been threatened. It's been threatened, or it's been completely demolished. And then here we are on the brink of this fresh start, what do we do? You know, what we do now truly, truly matters. So I'm going to let Whitney say a few words, and then we'll talk some more about both Mercury retrograde. Luckily, in this, but now that does mean that Mercury is going to, we're going to be having a conversation here during the next, 4 weeks or so with Mercury, where we talk about our finances, we talk about our place in the world, we talk about very 3D energies like our root chakra and feeling secure in ourselves and being able to really how we make a living and how that's changing on the planet too.
So yes, Taurus is my home. So I'm excited about this. And I feel like Mercury retrograde in Taurus will be less disruptive for me because it is all about the stuff. Taurus's theme is I have. And so this is also tied in with the root chakra, which is I have. So all of us who like to nest at home and like to tend what we own, this is going to be a time where we feel really happy to just kind of retreat into our space. But again, it's got to be forward momentum. So that's going to mean cleaning out, clearing out, so that your nest feels more like a sanctuary and less like a hoarder's cave. And this is not just physical things, although it really is based a lot around the physical stuff, but some of it is going to be the beliefs and the modes of thinking that are outdated, that no longer support the person you've become. So it's going to be the Mercury retrograde is actually not this thing I dread. I think it's actually kind of fun because it gives us the an excuse, quite frankly, to slow down and take more time, more intention, and more care with things, which is really super important in this hyper speed world we live in. So I love it because I can say, hey, hold up, let me not sign this document. Let me not commit to these things. Let me take my time to actually mull over and act with intention so that I don't get it wrong. And all of the things that I've left half finished, Mercury retrograde says, hey, what about this project? It's either time to finish it or dissolve it. And so instead of all of these things that are left hanging, this kind of dangling in the back of your mind, like I should do this, I need to take care of that. Shit, that one's not done yet either. Like all of these to-do lists that you end up crumpling and throwing away because you didn't complete anything. This is the opportunity to say, oh, that one no longer is relevant. I can just scratch it out completely. Or this one's done, let me check it off. So I love it because it gives me much more of a clean slate. And again, for me, much more so in the world of Taurus. The challenge is going to be to actually do the movement because we Taurus,
Yeah.
we little lovely hedonists that we are, we like to, sometimes we get to moving and working and we put all of that massive power that we contain into something. But a lot of times we want to hang out and eat chocolates and read our books and, take warm baths. So we have to balance it.
So true.
It's really important to find your
If
balance.
you've ever met a male Taurus or dated one, you're like, oh my, like there's an embellishment. You guys like nice things, or you like soft, velvety things. You like things that make you feel safe and secure, and you like good food and good music and good drink. But the thing is like then your belly's full and you want to take a nap, So, but you're right. There's this raw energy. Taurus. We often attribute that raw energy to Leo or Aries, but Taurus has a raw energy too. It's just that it kind of needs that push to really get moving. So Taurus can be prone to procrastination. And so I could see that happening in Mercury retrograde where you might come face to face with your procrastinations, your habits, your daily habits and say, wait a second, this, if things aren't operating the way that I want them to or need them to produce the results that I want, then let me make those changes. They always say, you probably have heard this. Mercury retrograde season is a time to rewind, retrace, redo, revamp, revitalize, review, it's all the re's. We get to go back. It's a retrograde. We're going back to see how we can do things differently, how we can do things more efficiently. This retrograde will test, a lot of your obligations, like Whitney was saying, to see like, wait, are these obligations really in alignment with who I am now? Or is this energy that maybe worked for me, I don't know, a year ago, 6 months ago, even 3 days ago? We're moving so fast. But if it's not working for you anymore, then it's time to do something different. So movement where we don't dread Mercury, but instead we look forward to it because we know how to work with it. We know how to work with the energy. So, you see all the jokes about Mercury retrograde. Oh, Mercury retrograde again, and we dread it. But then we're just creating that energy where we're allowing the mind to go crazy, thinking about all the things that could go wrong rather than what could go right and things that we can fix or the things that we can adjust so that our life moves more smoothly in this very visceral 3D world that we are in. I see a lot of reluctance right now to being in the 3D world. And I just went through 2 months of that. I did not want to be in the street. I was like, God, this is so dense. There's pain and suffering. And I was like, I just want to be in a place where there's not so much suffering and density. And I know a lot of people, this is a collective feeling. This was not an individual feeling that only I was going through. We're feeling this because we are elevating, because we're ascending. So I was taking on other people's pain and suffering and fears. And now that I'm on the other side of it, it's funny because I walked out in my neighborhood. I do my morning walk to get the sunlight, to get, my vitamin D and my system going. And I saw there's a man-made ponds around because we were close to a nature preserve. And I saw a rainbow in the water. And I was like, wow. And I saw a bunch of turtles and ducks and wildlife, but that rainbow was so significant to me because it felt like there had been this significant downpour, rainfall over the past 2 months, like 60 days for me. That just felt like the sun was not shining for me. Even though it was shining outside, I couldn't feel it, I couldn't see it, I couldn't experience it. And suddenly that rainbow came through to say, this is new beginnings. This is that fresh start. It's just taken a while for us to get there. We're less than a month into the actual new year. So we're on the precipice and the brink of greatness collectively and individually, but we're still very much in the energy of adjusting, very much in the energy of newness and rawness. And we don't really know what the hell we're doing yet. There's no map except for our inner guidance, and we get to use that and rely on each other to navigate forward. So I think this Mercury retrograde is a beautiful opportunity, coming right after the eclipse, literally the day after the eclipse. Boom, Mercury's retrograde. So even though we're in the shadow energy now, which happens 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after, we're going to feel like the crux of the energy, really like in the middle of Mercury retrograde, so at the end of April. But we're going to feel it. We're already feeling it. It'll ramp up more and more until that midpoint, and then it kind of starts to de-escalate. So as we escalate into Mercury retrograde, and we have this eclipse in Aries, where the nodes are moving later this year. So we have the North and the South node. We have that's our collective consciousness. That's our future collectively. And then the South node being where we've come from, the lessons, the karma, all of this stuff rolled into one. And all of those doors we've opened as a collective, in past lifetimes, in past experiences, all of those things. And then where we're going, so where we've been and where we're headed. And that doesn't happen until July, and we'll have lots of big stuff to say about the nodes changing, because so this year we have eclipses in Scorpio Taurus, finishing out that cycle of Scorpio Taurus that started last year. And then we also have the eclipses moving now into Aries and Libra. So this solar eclipse in Aries. Hey, Pam. Pam was a part of our 2021 group, our coaching group. Pam is amazing, guys. She's done amazing work. So say hi to Pam. Thank you. Even if you're just stopping in, I know you're a busy lady. It's so great to see you. So Aries, this energy of the eclipse in Aries, and this cosmic reset that we were given, in March. It's like now we get to really move forward with it. So find out where this eclipse, find out what house it hits for you. So you're going to find out your rising sun, and then from there you count down where does Aries hit. Okay, so for me, my rising sign is Cancer as an example. So I count all the way through to Aries, and that's my 10th house. That's the 10th house of career and ambition and my place in the world and how I present myself. This is huge. So if you've been following me for a while, you know it's no wonder that I've gone through this immense process of shedding. It's been a death. And finally, I'm getting to that rebirth part. Like I was doing, twin flame readings this time last year. I was deep in the twin flame label and belief system. And I've really, really, like, I don't even, it's almost like I don't recognize where I was. And I don't know if you feel that, Whitney, like maybe not in career because this will be a different energy, this eclipse season. But for me, like I'm not looking at the solar eclipse as something has to go. I'm like, I've already shed so much. I've been through so many death cycles. I'm looking at it as an opportunity to advance, as an opportunity to open that door finally. Solar eclipses, remember, guys, it's a new moon. Solar is a new moon. The lunar eclipses are the full moons. It's the ending. So we're at a beginning here with this new moon in Aries. What do you want to start? Maybe it's a new belief system. Maybe it's a new relationship. Maybe it's relationship with self. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's a move. But whatever that is for you, hold on to that now. Whatever needs to go, let it go. So if your ego is like fighting you, releasing something or letting something go, I'm going to encourage you that much more to just please like let go, open your hands and let this eclipse shift your life because it will.
Am I frozen? Because I'm a frozen.
Yeah, your screen just went black. So I on my end I can't see anything but just a black screen.
Well, I mean I can see me, but it's not fabulous.
Try reversing the camera and then reverse it back because that usually works for me.
Well, I'm trying to figure out where that button is.
You're on your iPhone, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so there should be a button. Maybe it doesn't appear that way on your screen. It's an arrow button, like the two arrows at the top.
No, it's not there. That's the thing.
Weird.
It is weird.
Or you can jump back off and jump back on if you want.
I'll try that.
Okay, I'll be here.
Okay.
I'll be here. Yes, Pam, it's been a tough few months, and everyone else watching, it's just been a lot of energy of death, a lot of energy of letting go, a lot of energy of really and truly like watching the ego freak out. There she is. And are you going to play into the ego storylines? Are you going to let the ego run the show? The ego is like, oh my God, it's over. Everything's over. You don't know who you are anymore. Maybe you've lost weight or gained weight, or maybe you've changed jobs or moved homes, or now you're not married, but you were, or whatever. Like all of these external things that are shifting and changing, the ego wants to freak out about it because suddenly your identity has shifted. With that identity shift comes usually a freak out, even if just momentarily. But remember, when you're feeling this, I can't stress this enough, that also the whole world is experiencing this with you. So this is a collective burnout, if you will. I can't tell you how many, okay, I live in an apartment complex now. I moved from a house to an apartment complex because I craved the community. There's like hundreds of people living here, at least 100, probably more. And so I'd say about a third of the people work from home. And it's so interesting because I watch people. I go on my walks or I go to the gym and I watch people. And I'm like, wow, that person looks so upset or so lonely or miserable. Like it shows on people's faces. People are struggling. We're struggling right now. So be kind. I mean, honestly. Ramona, if you would like a reading with me, we can definitely get down and dirty with the houses and I can help you understand that. And we can also, by the way, if anyone's interested, I'm offering eclipse readings now. So if you want to see how this eclipse is going to affect you, or I'll focus on this eclipse, and I'll probably also look into the one which is a lunar eclipse next month, in May, and we'll look at the cycles that are coming up for you and what part of your life this is affecting. Okay, what's being let go, what's dying, what's being regenerated or rebirthed. Okay, so I can definitely help with that. But definitely, we have to surrender. Like, we have to surrender with an eclipse, because if Colin, if you put your feet, like, and if you try to drag your feet in the mud or in the sand here, the universe is going to you along. I have the new iPhone I got like 6 months ago, and I don't know how to work the new Do Not Disturb. So my mom wants in on the energy, I guess. Um, but yeah, so it's definitely like we we need to be open. We need to free our minds. I also want to say, and I'm going to let Whitney talk, that whatever you're afraid of letting go of, that's the magic. Okay, if it's a relationship, it is a part of your identity. If it is, um, I don't know, like your job, your money, the way you make your money, if it is your home, whatever it is, you're going to notice that it's the ego that's attached to that thing, not you. The real you exists regardless of the car, regardless of the money, regardless of the home, regardless of the job, regardless of the title, regardless of the relationship. You exist beyond that. So these themes are coming up, the rebirth and renewal energy, the spring energy. I'm like finally starting to feel it, really feel it, like the energy being recycled. You're beyond the label, you're beyond the thing that you think you identify with. I promise you that. And that energy should be revealing itself ever more through this new moon solar eclipse. And I'm done for now. I'll let you talk.
So the labels is really an interesting thing because I noticed it when I was a young mother that there were all of these roles I played, all of these things that I was, and I started to question, who am I underneath all of these? Like, under mother and wife, and like the person who does the grocery shopping, and the one who cooks the meals, the one who cleans the house, and the one who like hosts this and does that. Like, who is Whitney underneath all of these things? And I don't know that that's ever a one and done question. If it is, it shouldn't be. But only because there are more and more layers that, as we get more awareness, more experience, more knowledge, we are able to delve a little deeper into that. But there's a core of us. I don't know if you want to call it the soul or whatever, but it is the thing that is unchanging, unyielding. It is who we are. It is that divinity that um, it's colored, it's flavored a little bit differently than everyone else because it is part of what is unique about you. But it's not the you that shows up and does things. It's not the you that shows up with certain gifts or talents. It's like the you that is simply existing magically, and trying to discover that or uncover that is kind of a fun process if you're willing to step back and say, all right, I'm going to leave all of these pieces of me. I'm just going to take them off one by one and see what's left, and do it from an observational standpoint instead of a being really attached to it standpoint. And there's no, like, you can pick them up and put them right back on. No worries. Because we feel safe inside of our roles, our labels, our masks, if you will. But it's kind of fun to take them off. And, if you didn't have the obligations of this particular role, what would you do with your time?
Mm.
Who would you be if you weren't who you are? So these are fun exercises that you can feel into to see which pieces of you can be shed. And again, the fun piece is that there's no pressure. It's not like you have to get rid of them. And it's not like I would ever choose to get rid of the label of mother, but at some point in time, I will have children who are not at home. Just like I currently have children who no longer need me to dress them and feed them. And so I'm in a different phase of this role. But there's going to be a point in time where this role takes up a fraction of the time it takes up now. So what will I do with that time? Who will I choose to be? And it's in considering these things and getting excited about, oh, well, at some point I'll be able to do this, that you start to get ideas. You start to finally get sparks of, oh, this is what I choose. This is what I would like life to look like now. Like, not that I want to wait another 8 years, but I could start planting seeds now for what I want to grow then. So it can be really fun. And this time that's coming, this retrograde, is a time for us to see those pieces and those roles with a little more clarity. And not be married to the idea of being exactly who we are now.
This is so important. Like, I'm getting so excited listening to you talk about this because, like, I don't know if you guys heard, but I want to repeat what Whitney said. She said, discover or get curious about who would I be if I wasn't who I was? Like, really, really, like, take that sentence apart, and digest it. Who would I be if I wasn't busy being who I was? And I can so resonate with that feeling because I have four nephews and I raised my oldest. I helped raise him with my parents. And his parents were in the picture, my brother and his mom. But my parents and I would say, did a majority of the emotional raising and a lot of the physical raising. So he is like a son to me. I just didn't birth him. And he's very important to me. He's about to be 19. And the past year, part of my death cycle was like the empty nest syndrome. I know that feels like from the perspective of the aunt who was basically a second mother. And that feeling like it was an identity. And I cried and I grieved. I think I'm finally past it because our relationship has shifted now. And now I'm like a mentor. It's different. It changes. And I had to accept that this is part of life. Like, and so many people are going through that right now in different ways. Like, it was the death of the way things were, the death of part of my identity of being the aunt, being the caretaker. And I really, really love that role. And I have three other nephews, but they're in another state. And unfortunately, I only get to see them once, maybe twice a year. So I love them all very much and equally, but I had a especially close relationship with him in that he had a much more challenging childhood in circumstances than my other nephews. And so I really had to like go deep. Like, not only was I going through that as he graduated high school, but then I moved away and I was like, holy shit, like, really, who am I? And it was very scary and very lonely and very sad. And I grieved and I cried and I got angry and I went through all of those emotions. And I think it's so important to honor the emotions, whatever death you're going through, whether it's a literal death or the death of a part of you or a part of your identity. We have to honor that like a ritual. I mean, I spent a lot of hours, a lot of nights just grieving, and he doesn't even know this. One day, maybe I'll share it with him, but he doesn't even know like how important. I think he knows how important he is to me, but I don't think he understands that I would literally like step in front of a car to save his life. And I would do anything to see him happy and to see him thrive and to see him be successful. And it was something I wasn't prepared for. So I think it's good to like talk about these things before they happen. Because if like someone had just brought that up, I could have worked through it. It would have been an easier process than just bam, okay, now things are different. And it felt like it happened overnight. And so I think in many ways people are going through this closing out of a very significant chapter in their life. And that's part of the energy right now. So whatever it is that you're closing out right now, how can you make that more palpable? How can you make that not more palpable, but like more gentle or easier or more enjoyable even? Like, how can you, like Whitney's saying, like, get excited about, one day being the empty nester, get excited about working with the energy of Mercury. Like, how can we use situations or circumstances outside of ourselves to our advantage so that they don't overpower our emotions?
So I will say about the parenting aspect, I think the one thing parents get used to is like these mini deaths, because there are so many phases that children go through that, like, there's the death of the infancy stage where they don't need you every 4 hours, kind of thing. But with all of these little mini deaths, there's this new phase where they need you in a different way. And so it's like you don't have to do but so much grieving because it's immediately replaced, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you get to the portion where they move out, it's like, oh, there's no replacement for this. And I don't know why this popped up for me when mine were so young, but it did. And I was like, I don't want to get to a point where I feel lost without this role.
Sure. Sure.
I have so many passions and interests and all of that. I'm not sure that it would really overtake necessarily, but when you think that infants are going to be the thing that takes all of your time, but when they get to be teenagers, it takes so much mental energy that infancy didn't take, and it utilizes your time in a different way. So it's much easier to run out of time in your day to do the things that are soul filling or joyful for you. And so now that mine require rides everywhere and they do so many things, and I am a chauffeur so much of my time, instead of being able to sit down and do the things that I would get excited about doing, I have to be extremely aware of refilling my personal bucket, because there are other roles that I have as well that I have to devote time to. So it's not
Sure.
like it's just my kids and work and then whatever else I want to do. It's more like the pie is sliced many more times than that. And so the thing that was the best advice for me was pick up a magazine or turn on the TV and flip through like the, I don't know, HGTV or the, Crafty channel or whatever, like anything that actually sparks interest. Make a mental note and be like, hey, maybe I can explore this. For people who aren't sure what excites them, just keep your eyes open, because the universe is going to show you this, 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 and this. And you're going to be like, oh, damn, here's a pottery class. I've been wanting to try pottery for the last 15 years, and I have not been available whenever those pottery classes are offered. Here's my shot. So it's stuff like that. If you will take time from the grieving to just take notice or start paying attention to what sparks your interest now, then you will have a list of things that you want to try when you actually have the freedom to do so.
We live 1,000 lives in a lifetime. I mean, because that's 4 times. I just want to make sure there's not an emergency, because that's a lot of calls in a short period of time. But so now I'm distracted. Yeah, I mean, the death energy is prominent with Scorpio, and anybody with strong Scorpio placement. It's part of your life. I mean, I've always felt like, I there's a birth and there's a death, like metaphorically speaking. But you're right, replacing that with something is important, and I think that to kind of sum it up here, to close out, I think that there's just so much to be explored here. There's so much to be explored in eclipse season and Mercury retrograde and in our upcoming chakra course. By the way, guys, if you're like, what is going on with this energy? How do I navigate this? We're going to incorporate the current energies in this chakra course. It's a 6-week course. It starts this Saturday, April 15th. We would love to have you join. You can reach out to me at the email below. We'll get you all the information. We'll get you registered. And you're going to meet other people. You're going to be able to have that connection with others who are going through their own sets of struggles and also their own triumphs, and support one another through both the triumphs and the struggles. But also just going through the 7 chakras, getting an understanding, because the chakras will support you through your transitions and through your transformations and through the birth and the death. They will support you. Having a balanced chakra system is so vastly important that we can't stress it enough. So this is a comprehensive course in the sense that, yes, it's based on, it's an intro to the chakras, but we're also going to the current energetic themes, because we're launching it in eclipse season, literally a few days before eclipse season, has to be included. it has to be included because it's going to come up. Those are the themes that will come up and will be arising for people. So how can you navigate through that? We'll have yoga poses and demonstrations to help you calm your nervous system, to help you understand when you're freaking out, when you have anxiety, which chakra is that? When you're feeling overwhelmed, which chakra is that? And then how do you balance the chakra? How do you keep, let's say you have three chakras out of whack or out of alignment. Well, how do you bring them all into balance? So we're gonna work with our, applicable things that will help you get your body back in balance. This is an ancient healing system, the energetics of the body, and it's so rich for helping you through every aspect, every chapter of life. So we could not be more excited. It's been almost a year. Actually, it's been a year since I've offered any courses at all, and we're so excited. I'm so excited to be doing this with Whitney and for this to be the one that we launch. And we wanted to keep it short and sweet as the first launch because it's the beginning of the new astrological year, and many people just have a lot going on right now. So there'll be longer workshops and longer courses in the future, but this is that intro course. So we would love to have you.
Yeah, we
And
really
thank you
are
guys for
excited.
being here. Yeah, we really
Thank you.
are. And if you guys have any questions, if you watch this after the live and you have questions, please just don't hesitate to leave a comment. Whitney or myself will address the comment on the video. Let us know how you like this by giving it a like, sharing, subscribing, and let us know how we can serve you and what other questions you have for us for future lives.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
guys. Take care. We'll see you soon, okay? Be well.